The moment my boss kissed my wife, the entire office went silent. Not the kind of silence that fades in a few seconds, but the kind that presses against your chest and makes it hard to breathe. Conversations died mid-sentence. Glasses froze halfway to lips. Even the music in the background suddenly felt distant, like it didn't belong in that moment anymore. I stood there, completely still, two coffees in my hands, watching my life collapse in real time. I didn't drop them. I didn't react. I just stood there like my brain refused to accept what my eyes were clearly seeing. And the worst part, she didn't pull away. No hesitation, no shock, no guilt, just acceptance, like it was normal, like I was the only one who didn't know. That was the moment everything inside me shifted. My name is Jason Miller, and for 5 years I lived a life I thought would lead somewhere. I worked like a machine. Wake up early, leave late, skip meals, cancel plans, ignore calls, sacrifice everything. I told myself it was temporary, that one day it would all pay off, that one day I'd look back and say it was worth it. My boss, Daniel Carter, made sure I kept believing that. He had a way of speaking that made you trust him. "You're close, Jason. I see potential in you. Just keep going." And I did. Every time I felt exhausted, every time I questioned if it was worth it, I heard his voice in my head telling me I was almost there. I believed loyalty would be rewarded. I believed hard work would be seen. I believed him. That was my first mistake. At home, I thought I had something solid. My wife, Emily, she wasn't just part of my life, she was the reason I pushed so hard. I told myself I was doing all of this for us, for our future. In the beginning, she supported me. She waited for me. She cared. But slowly, without me realizing, things started to change. It wasn't one big moment. It was 1,000 small ones. She started going out more, spending more time on her phone, smiling at messages she never shared. When I asked, she'd say it was nothing. When I came home late, she'd already be asleep, or at least pretending to be. Conversations became shorter. Eye contact became rare, but I ignored it, because admitting something was wrong would mean everything I was working for might already be falling apart. I chose comfort over truth. I chose to trust instead of question. That was my second mistake. Meanwhile, at work, things weren't as perfect as I told myself they were. Daniel started changing too, or maybe I just started noticing. He interrupted me in meetings, took credit for ideas I spent nights building, presented my work like it was his own. At first, I thought it was a misunderstanding. Then I thought it was temporary. Then I realized it was intentional. People around me saw it. I could tell by the way they looked at me, quick glances, awkward silences, but no one said anything. And neither did I, because I thought speaking up would ruin my chances. I thought staying quiet was part of the process, that enduring it would somehow prove my worth. I kept telling myself just a little longer. Then came the company party. The night everything finally revealed itself. The office was decorated, lights dimmed just enough to feel expensive, music playing, laughter everywhere. Executives, managers, coworkers, everyone dressed better than usual, acting more confident than they actually were. I remember thinking, this is it. This is the moment things turn around. Maybe tonight I'd finally get recognition. Maybe tonight Daniel would publicly acknowledge my work. I walked in with that thought. And then I saw them across the room, too close, too comfortable. At first my brain tried to explain it away. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe I was overthinking. But then it happened. He leaned in and she didn't stop him. That kiss wasn't rushed. It wasn't hidden. It was open, confident, like they didn't care who saw, like I didn't matter. In that moment everything made sense. The late nights, the distance, the changes. It all connected in the most brutal way possible. But what hurt more than the betrayal was the realization that I was the only one who didn't know. Everyone else in that room either knew or suspected. And I was just standing there, holding coffee, playing the fool. After that night, I didn't scream. I didn't confront him in front of everyone. I didn't throw the coffee or make a scene. I just walked away. Later, when it was just the two of us, I asked her one question. How long? My voice was calm, which surprised even me. She didn't hesitate. 3 months, she said. 3 months. 90 days of lies. 90 days of me working late, thinking I was building something meaningful while she was giving herself to someone else. Why? I asked. I don't know what answer I expected. Something emotional, something complicated, but what she said was simple. You were never there, he was. That sentence hit harder than anything else. Not because it justified what she did, but because it exposed a truth I didn't want to admit. I had been absent. Not physically, but emotionally. I had replaced connection with ambition, but even knowing that didn't make what she did acceptable. It just made the situation more real. That night something inside me didn't break, it changed form. The anger didn't explode, it settled, it sharpened. It became something quieter, more controlled, clarity, the kind that strips away illusions. The next morning I woke up and felt different, not better, just clear. I didn't quit my job. I did confront Daniel. I didn't tell anyone. I showed up like nothing happened. I greeted people. I attended meetings. I did my work. On the surface, I was the same Jason, but internally everything had shifted. I stopped caring about approval. I stopped believing in fairness. I started observing, listening, paying attention to things I used to ignore. Small inconsistencies, strange patterns, conversations that didn't quite add up. And slowly I started collecting pieces, emails that seemed off, financial reports that didn't match, access logs at unusual hours. I didn't rush. I didn't assume, I just gathered. Because one thing I learned was that people who are comfortable crossing one line usually cross others too, and Daniel was no exception. The deeper I looked, the more I found. Accounts that didn't belong, transfers that didn't make sense, numbers adjusted just enough to avoid attention. He wasn't just unethical, he was dirty. And he thought he was untouchable. That's when things took another unexpected turn. Emily came back, not confident like before, not distant. She was different, broken, regretful, crying. She said she made a mistake, that she didn't know what she was thinking, that it didn't mean anything. I listened, but I didn't feel anything. No anger, no sadness, just emptiness. Like whatever connection we had was already gone. But then she said something that caught my attention. I can access his laptop. That was the first time since everything happened that I felt something close to interest. Not because of her, but because of what that meant. I didn't trust her, but I understood opportunity. A week later, she gave me a USB drive. No long conversation, no explanation, just a silent handoff. When I opened it, I realized this was bigger than I expected. Conversations, detailed records, audio files, things I couldn't have accessed on my own. It wasn't just enough to expose him, it was enough to end him professionally. But I didn't act immediately, because timing matters. Acting too soon would waste the impact. I wanted it to be undeniable, public, final. The opportunity came during a quarterly executive meeting. The entire leadership team was there. Daniel was on stage, confident as always. And thanks to my leadership. Actually, I said, the room went quiet. I played everything. Emails, audio, transactions, truth. He panicked. This is fake. Then his own voice played, clear, guilty. That was the end. Security took him out, no power left. Emily begged. I helped you. I looked at her. You chose him. I filed for divorce. No second chances. They offered me his position. I said no. I already had better, more money, more respect, a fresh start. He lost everything. She lost both of us, and me. I found myself again. I learned one thing: people don't change. They reveal who they are. Real revenge isn't destroying them, it's becoming untouchable. But yeah, watching him fall, that felt pretty damn good.